Welcome to the Body Smart Podcast, where we remove roadblocks to fitness and health to empower you to master your health habits. We help you become body smart.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Body Smart Vodcast. Excited to come to you again today. I am here with Matt Fansler from the Ad Astra Endurance Project, and he is awesome. So he coaches triathletes. He's here for 1 month studying with me about how to do the metabolic testing and things like that. And so excited to have him. He's here from South Carolina, originally from Maryland.
Yeah, just outside of Washington, D.C., suburbs. So, yeah. And
so excited to have him here, learning a bit more about the metabolic testing and everything so that he can become an expert and help his athletes with that as well. But I just wanted to take the time to sit him down and find out a little bit more about his journey, how he became this endurance coach as well as physical therapist and all the stuff that he's doing in his life, and kind of his journey. It's really an interesting one where you kind of took what you want to do as kind of your passion and you switched up your life to be able to follow that. So tell us a little bit more, Matt, about kind of how you got here where you are today in terms of, you know, your health, your fitness, your coaching, and kind of your major job change that you did. So give us the background and kind of how you got here.
So I grew up, I was always really active growing up. I played a lot of sports, and I was really into swimming. So I kind of grew up and quit when I went to college. And I was actually an economics major at college. Not necessarily because it's what I loved, but just because, I don't know, it's something that kind of fell into my lap, sort of. So
yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
like
it seemed practical, and so
right. It's a good springboard degree and all those things. Yeah,
kind of checked a lot of boxes. So I did that and ended up getting a job in finance after, just because through people I knew and that sort of thing. And did that for a while, and it was going well. I felt like, you know, I was good at it, and I just kind of felt like I got to a point in my career where it was either, you know, go all in or I had to try something new. And I felt like when I was going into work every day, I was just kind of not quite super passionate about doing it. I was just kind of going in, and I got to the point where I was going through the motions a little bit. And I felt like I was at a time in my life where I was still young enough to make a change. And so I kind of thought about what I wanted to do. And at that point, my swimming career had kind of ended. I got into lifting weights a lot in college, kind of stopped that and gained some weight when I started working, which is probably a pretty common story.
Super common story, yeah.
So I was like, I can't handle this. I'd never really been out of shape in my life because I'd been such a active person all my life. And so I signed up for a marathon, actually, was the first thing I did. I hadn't run a race before. And so that's a pretty common story as well, I feel like.
Right, going after the big goal.
Going after the big goal. I knew some people that had done one. And so I was like, that sounds cool. I'm just going to do it. So I signed up for one without having run, like, ever. And well, I'd run a little bit, but not much.
Right, mostly just for sports training, not necessarily for endurance training, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I went online, and I found some free training plan. And I printed it out, and I followed it, and I did the marathon, and I loved it. It was awesome. So
that's awesome.
I was kind of hooked after. I think that was 2007 or 2008, and I was pretty hooked after that. That kind of springboarded me into. I had that swimming career kind of growing up.
Yeah.
And I kind of had been away from it for about 10 years at that point, and that kind of like, I decided to get back into it because I thought triathlons would be the next step. Like, that was something I really wanted to try next. So
logical progression.
A little bit of a progression, yeah. So I got a bike and started doing I did like one triathlon a year for a couple years, and I really loved it.
Awesome.
You know, again, I had no idea what I was doing. Just out there kind of trying to finish the race and just having fun. And so I really kind of fell in love with it, and got more and more involved from there. So at the same time, while I'm kind of getting more into triathlon, I was kind of feeling the same way about work, where I was just kind of sitting there and, feel like just kind of going through the motions each day. So I decided one day that I was just going to do something, kind of take a chance and do something that I loved. And that like a couple months later, I signed up for my first prerequisite for PT school. And
wow.
I think you need like 10 to get in, and I had one that qualified. So
It's like going back to school. It's like starting over.
I pretty much went back to class. Yeah, I took like 9 classes.
Wow.
Working full time, go to class at night, try to get some homework done, and then kind of wake up and start all over again. So I did that for, it took me about 4 years, I think. And then started PT school 2 years ago. So I have 1 year left of that.
Yeah.
And I started the coaching thing. Really, I started getting more into it myself, it's just something I love, like just reading about, the training and kind of I started designing plans for myself and seeing what worked, what didn't about 5 years ago. And then I had somebody ask me to coach them 2 years ago, just because they knew I was super into it, and I did it. And I had always loved coaching myself, and I found out that I really loved coaching someone else as well. And that's kind of how it all started. So,
so what a courageous thing! Like that just blows my mind to have the courage to like take what you're doing and you were doing well, and just say, you know what, this isn't my passion. I would much rather be doing something, along the lines of what I'm doing with my recreational stuff, with your triathlons, your running and swimming and things. The fact that you can take that courage enough to say, you know what, I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to pursue an actual dream rather than just a job that pays the bills and does great.
Yeah.
But to go after something that really was more of like, this is what I really am passionate about.
It was definitely a big leap. And it took, I act like I just decided one day and I did it, but it took a lot of I did my homework a lot. At that point, like I owned a house and I had a lot going on. So it was kind of a big step to kind of juggle all these things and make it happen. But I couldn't be happier. I mean, I just, like I said, I'm really happy I did it. And
that's awesome.
At the point where I was, I felt like, if I could do something where I was really helping somebody every day, and just if I could have a job where I was passionate about going into work every day and doing what I love, then it doesn't even feel like working at all. So that was kind of the dream of mine to have.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. And so when did you start to make the transition to wanting to do more of that, the endurance coaching and stuff? Was it as you were taking all those classes, all those prerequisites for PT school you're taking, if you don't know what it takes to get into physical therapy school, it's a pretty competitive thing. Like some schools boast like an 80% rejection rate, meaning like 80% of the candidates that apply don't ever even get an interview, which is crazy, right? So it's pretty competitive to get in. And then the prerequisites are tough. It's pretty similar, actually. Most schools, the prerequisites are the same as medical school, where you have to have some advanced biology, but you also have to do a lot in physics, physiology, human performance type stuff. And so most people wind up getting a degree in exercise physiology along the way. So you were probably fairly close by the time you got all the prerequisites.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't look into it, but yeah, I'm probably have like one class to take. And I love it,
right.
Yeah.
But pretty wild. So with that background, is that kind of when you thought, that coaching could be a thing for me too?
Definitely. I think, physical therapy was interesting to me just because I had some previous experience with it. I think like a lot of people, I didn't know everything about the profession when I kind of decided to go for it.
Right.
And so, I think in the beginning, I just kind of wanted to help people. Like I knew kind of the outpatient world. And, yeah. So I was like, that would be a cool job. And then I thought maybe I could work with athletes. Mm-hmm. And all the while I'm going kind of parallel with the triathlon thing. And I decided like maybe I could kind of merge the two worlds and really do what I love. So that's kind of how it happened. It was a slow progression.
Yeah.
And, through the prerequisites and through school, I kind of like have shaped, more what I want to do from that. So yeah.
Awesome.
The triathlon coaching thing started, like I said, just kind of organically. And then I actually went and got USA Triathlon certified last year. Cool. Just to kind of get that training and that certification. So
yeah, to become legit, right?
Official,
within the circles and everything that are part of doing triathlons and stuff like that. So you've competed in a handful of them yourself. Do you feel like that same kind of determination that it took to switch up your job and everything to kind of take that leap, that same kind of courage and determination helped you in your triathlons?
Definitely, yeah. So I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. You know,
Right.
I think it probably started with my swimming career. Like I don't know if I was a good swimmer because of that or vice versa. So I do think, I think if you have that attitude and you, I think a lot of people can learn that through sport or, whatever it is. Like when you're doing an Ironman, it seems super impossible, but then you go through it and you're like, you know what, like I did it. Like I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
It was a huge accomplishment and it was really, really hard, but like I can do it if I put my mind to it, which is kind of cliche, but I think it's true. You kind of learn that you put limits on yourself that don't need to exist. You can do so much more than you think you're capable of.
Right. So, kind of just putting that one foot in front of the other, and no matter how hard it is, just keep moving.
Just keep moving.
Yeah. So I've never done a tri, so that's a whole nother level. But with running, you definitely you get to that point where it's like, I don't know that I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
Right. Like I definitely can't sustain this pace, but I don't know. And somehow you just keep moving, and you do, and you wind up doing fine. But mentally, that can be a battle, right?
Yeah. So sometimes that big goal, and it's what I try to kind of help people with is taking that big goal and kind of cutting it down into pieces and saying like, okay, day by day, week by week, how are we going to approach this? And next thing you know, you've kind of climbed that mountain and you've accomplished what you've set out to do. So
awesome. So that's part of your training philosophy, is kind of just taking it bit by bit.
Absolutely.
Bite size.
I think it's super important to have a plan. So we are pretty specific with that, and everything's individualized because I think everybody is different.
Oh, absolutely.
So we really preach consistency, and a lot of times I don't like calling myself a coach. I kind of like mentor or manager a little bit better, really manager probably.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of what I do is kind of like not only manage that training plan, but manage people's expectations and how they train. So a lot of what I'm doing is kind of slowing people down sometimes. A lot of people want to go out and...
It's a common message.
You talk about this a lot, but slowing them down maybe, 80% of the time is what you teach, and maybe only having that 20% of the time where they're really pushing it.
Right.
And I think having a plan, especially for a triathlon, makes that big goal a little bit easier.
Yeah. So you just had an athlete, you were kind of excited for it the other day, just had an athlete complete an Ironman.
Yeah.
And really stoked for him. And it was fun to kind of watch Matt like be excited and geek out that day, checking his stats and seeing where he's at and stuff.
Yeah,
it's pretty
exciting.
Fun.
Yeah. You kind of get to live vicariously through. Shout out to Nick Ditchy, who did Ironman Mount Tremblant 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So Ironman has a really cool app. I don't know if you want to check that out, where if you know anybody doing a race, it'll kind of follow them throughout the race. So my wife had come into town the day before, who actually coaches with me, and we had the app going. We were in Park City, Utah, which is like this beautiful ski resort we had never been to. All day long, we're kind of looking at the app and just following Nick around. So we were really proud and just really excited for him. And
that's cool stuff.
Kind of watch. They have some live feeds, so we were able to kind of hop in there and watch them finish.
See some,
all that. So
that's awesome.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Really proud of them.
That's cool. And so being able to like you said, live vicariously through them. Do you feel like you're not just, I don't know, coaching them to meet their goals, but you're helping to accomplish something bigger in doing so, I guess? I don't know.
So, and I think kind of what I was saying before, through PT school, it's kind of changed or allowed me to kind of focus what I'd like to do. And I think, promoting wellness overall, and, I help with a weight management clinic at school, and just all that, just the big picture, I think is more important. I think, especially the bulk of the people we're going to work with are just people that have a job where they're working at least 40 hours a week, and they don't necessarily have time to go out and train for 3-4 hours a day. So it's kind of about managing that and just getting them healthy and happy overall. I mean,
absolutely,
just accomplishing their goals, whatever it may be. So
no, I so agree with that. I feel like any person that I've helped over the years to get from that level of like, I don't even know what fitness looks like, to like running their first race or being able to go on their first hike that was like a legitimate, real hike.
Yeah.
Or, all those people that take those steps, or any athlete that I've helped to be able to stay on the road, that really is a rewarding thing of like, I'm doing something more than just like helping people get rid of pain, which, is great. But at the same time, I'm keeping somebody fit and healthy and active, keeping them out of the doctor's office, keeping them out of the hospital. Like it helps them, it helps their kids to see that example of their parent who's done something cool. Like, I think it really can be a bigger thing in where you're helping people really accomplish their goals and change to a lifestyle that's more about fitness and health. And that's so much of why I got into doing what I do with Body Smart, is to be able to help people lead the kind of lifestyle that's going to help them do the things they want to do and be healthier and happier. Yeah. I don't know if that's the same journey for you. In kind of talking with you about stuff, I guess we've talked about some things where that sounds similar to what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you said it really well. So I couldn't agree more. And I think I kind of struggled with that a little bit at first. I don't know if most people do or not, because I felt like in order to help people, like I had to go and help people that had pain get better and back to where they were before. But now I kind of feel like, as you said, like if you can prevent that pain in the first place, or prevent that person that's overweight from developing a diabetes, or something that could put a strain on, a lot of people around them. If you can affect them and help all the people around them, then maybe that's even more important than helping that person that is in acute pain. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's all kind of.
And I think you can do both, but
Right.
I don't think there's it's not any less substantial to do the prehab thing.
Right.
A lot of people are doing.
Well, and I think that removing those roadblocks and allowing people to stay healthy and fit it's huge in terms of their overall quality of life. And like you said, that trickle down effect of affecting all the people around them by being healthier and happier and whatever. And so that really is a joy of part of what we do as physical therapists, that we're able to help people in that way. And so it's been really exciting to have you here with me here at Body Smart, learning more about the metabolic testing, learning more just about fitness and health in general. So Matt's in his final year, almost done with PT school.
Almost there.
We get to call him Doc in just a little bit.
Seems like I got a long way to go, but I'm sure it'll fly by, and I've had a lot of fun. So I've had a lot of fun here, and I feel like I've learned a ton from Cameron about the metabolic testing, and he's a little bit of a specialist in that sense, and so I had to come all the way out to Utah to learn, but it was definitely worth it, and
awesome.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So
it's good stuff, and thank you so much, Matt, for joining us here on the Body Smart Vodcast. It's always great to talk to other people that kind of have a similar mindset of just wanting to help people for good reasons, and being able to do so through being active, being fit and healthy. And so thanks so much for sharing a little bit about your journey, how you got there personally, as well as how you're helping other people to accomplish their goals and dreams and stay fit and healthy and active. So thanks so much for joining us. Thanks again, Matt. We'll go ahead and drop the links to his website, the Ad Astra Project .com, right?
adastraproject.com.
Yeah, is the website. And so we'll drop the links to that, also to his Instagram and Twitter and all that fun stuff, so you can get a hold of Matt if you've got questions for him. So thanks so much, and join us on the next one. This is the Body Smart Vodcast. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Body Smart Podcast. Join us in the Body Smart community on Facebook to share your successes or ask a question for our next episode. Now get out there and take the next step toward living your active lifestyle.